Welcome to Post Game Podcast. I'm your host, June. I got my boy B Foster with me. And before we get into this show, I want to ask everyone to subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube and make sure you follow us on all the aggregators out there. Make sure that notification bell is on so when we drop new content, you will get a notification and download those episodes. You are not, you haven't been fooled or bamboozled. This the topic, the name of the show, Central Division Showdown, is where we partner up with NBA, FFSN affiliates from the Central Division, and we do a show together. However, it's just the Pistons representatives that's here. Now, I don't know if they're gonna pull up or not. We're still waiting to hear from everyone. However, we are here. Me and Foster is gonna be here, and they're welcome to pull up whenever. They have the invitation. They know we do this at 8 o'clock on Mondays. We started the show a little bit after 10 after, so I think I think that's ample amount of time. And like I said, me and Foster's here, and we can talk Pistons basketball until do you hear all that, bro?
I did hear a little echo or feedback for a little
There
bit.
was a bunch of feedback. I don't know what's going on.
I don't hear it now, but I did for a quick second. Yeah.
Anyway, me and Foster's here. And like I said, I love my Pistons team, so I can talk about them until they get here. So I don't want to do anything that I might have to run back. But put it like this: if they're not here, we won't run it back. But the last 3 games, Foster, I think the last Central Division show we talked about, they asked you, what do you think? What's the outlook for the next 3 games? And you said 1-3, and there
1
it
and
was.
2, right?
1-2. My
Or
fault.
1 out of the last 3.
One out of the last 3. One out of the last 3. And they asked, what out of the next 3, how many wins would you get? And you said we'll probably get 1 out of those 3 because there were 3 tough opponents. Those opponents being Boston, Milwaukee, and the Knicks. Now, anybody else looking at what's going on with probably saying, oh, the Pistons drop all 3. But Foster said, we're going to get 1 of those. And that it is indeed what happened. The Pistons wound up defeating the Knicks. Was it last night? Yeah. Saturday night. That was Saturday night.
Yes.
The Pistons defeated the Knicks, and it's been so long since we defeated the Knicks. I wasn't able to watch the game
either.
And but I'm checking the scores while I'm out, and I see Cade gets another triple-double. He had 29 points, and he wound up with a triple-double, and I'm like, man, this guy here. Say what you want. I used to, and Foster can attest to this. I used to say, nobody's off limits as far as trades. Cade's off limits.
You did. You used to say that. You used to say, I don't care who they all.
I don't care. Break this thing up if it don't work. No, Cade is off limits. He is not. You can trade anybody else you want, but you're not trading Cade. Cade is the guy. He's the guy. I wonder if my boy left. Mr. My said he was on standby. And this is why I'm mad, man. Because that's my dog. He checks in all the time. And we started late. And I don't know if he's there or not. So if you're out there, man, appreciate you. Anyway, yeah, Cade is the guy. And you don't trade him. You build around this guy. This is our future. This guy is, and I used to fuss about the turnovers, but he's getting triple doubles now. I mean, I'm not going to fuss about turnovers as much no more. I'm still going to say something, but it's, when you getting a triple double, hey, do what you got to do, man. Do what you got to do. I just don't like the unforced turnovers, the very bad passes. There was one time this season where the inbound pass, there was no one down there, and they just threw it away. And those are the kind of turnovers that I just can't stand. Now, if somebody's interfering with a pass and you turn it over, that's different. But oh my gosh, well, hold on, I got to do a sound effect for this one because we got we got somebody here. We got somebody. There we go. There we go. There we go. There it is. The man of many team hats. My boy Pay. Welcome to the show, Pay.
I do not wear a lot of team hats. I only have 4 favorite teams there, June.
That's a lot of
Just
hats.
well, I
That's a
mean
lot.
one in each sport. It's one in each league. So it's not that many.
I
Not
mean,
that
I
many
have a lot of
whatsoever.
team hats, man. I mean, it's not, I like a lot of teams out there.
Oh, no, well, I mean, different strokes for different folks. Not me though. Not me.
I want everybody to give my boy Pay a warm welcome, man. I'm glad to see you, man. I'm going to read this comment real quick because this is my boy Troy. Troy said, "What's up, guys? I'm loving the Pistons this year, and that's all I want is an average team with potential for more." Yeah, I mean,
That's all we asked for.
it's a
Not
rebuilding.
much.
It's a rebuilding year, so we not expecting to be uh up there with the well, I almost said Miami, but I want to say we're not up there with the Bostons. We're not up there with the Knicks, even though we did defeat them Saturday. Um, we're just not there yet. We're not 40, 50 games, 40, 50 game winners as a roster potentially. I don't think. I think we're very well within 30 games, and that's not saying much, to be honest. It's not saying much. But like I said, and I'm gonna revert back, when you go 14 and 68, you hope you can get to 30 games the following season. That's just what it is. There's a lot of good teams in the Eastern Conference. Pay, how you doing there, brother?
Yeah, we're okay over here, man. Excuse my tardiness. I was filming another episode for the Bears and then got a call while I was in the studio. I got a call off. Somebody was supposed to do this, so I had to jump
Oh
into this a
my.
little bit late. So I mean, see, it's three fingers to the shoulder, man. It's nothing new. Just call in Batman, call in Mariano Rivera. We can handle this. No big deal.
Yes.
As it relates to the Bulls, though, since we are talking Central Division basketball, after a lot of games last week, guys, we wrapping up for the quarterfinals for the Cup this week. So a lot of
Mhm.
teams got a lot of time off this week to figure some things out. The Bulls last week went 2-2.
Mm.
Both of their losses were to Eastern Conference teams. They had one of their wins was to those Wimbies, the Fighting Wimbies out of Texas.
Mhm.
If you remember last week's episode, my boy's Sports Life of Hip Hop, Rick, in particular, he says the Bulls don't do good in that Texas Triangle. Well, I mean, the Bulls heard them and they had a dub to give out to the pop list Spurs. The other
Mm.
win from last week, the Bulls defeated the Nets by nearly 30 points.
Wow. Yeah, the Nets have been playing some decent ball too when they want to.
Yeah, I think that was Monday when we were filming our last week's episode.
Okay.
The Bulls just jumped on them, pounced right on them out the gate. I think the Nets were down a lot of their usual rotation players. I know Cam Johnson didn't play and a bunch of other guys didn't play. So that explains that big win. The other ones, the 76ers lost. Yeah, if Joel Embiid plays, the Bulls are going to lose. Joel Embiid has owned the Bulls his entire career. I think he's only lost to the Bulls once or twice, something like that. It's definitely not 3 times or more. It's a running joke in a lot of my friend groups that go ahead and make that bet. If JoJo's playing the Bulls, go ahead and make that bet. It's an easy cash.
That bad? He
Bad.
goes that crazy?
He is instant money when he sees the Bulls.
His eyes light up.
Light up. Tap in on DraftKings or BetMGM or whomever you do business with, because it's time to get rich.
he used to play very good versus his backup that's there, and then when he was on the Bulls. What's his name? Started off Drummond. When Drummond was at the Bulls and Embiid played against him, he had a field day against Drummond.
Well, I think you all know why. I mean, the word starts with the first letter of the city of Detroit. Drummond lacks a whole lot of that, and I'm not talking about appendages either. He lacks a whole lot of defense.
Yeah. Mr. My City says, like Randall is with the Pistons, it just rises to the occasion. Yeah,
like Batman.
Yeah. I mean, some people were. I think Halliburton was doing that for a minute with us. Like he'd see the Pistons on the schedule, and he circled that game, and he would have like a crazy game. Versus he's cooled off lately, but Halliburton, every time he played the Pistons last couple of years, he go crazy every single time.
Yeah, that's crazy because Halliburton is it. You would expect Halliburton to struggle a little bit playing the Pistons. I get it. It's been a lot of injuries concerns, a lot of inconsistent lineups. Let's just call it like that with Detroit the last few seasons, right? But if you are healthy, I would assume that Halliburton would not be able to go crazy against that type of thing because it's a whole lot of length in that backcourt. Balls.
Yeah. Well. So Halliburton has been with Indiana for a year. Well, prior, because he really hasn't been great this year against the Pistons.
Last year,
we beat him, but he's only been on the Pacers prior to this year. It's only been like a year and a half, I think, because he got traded at the All-Star. I mean the deadline, and then he played a full year outside of his injuries last year. So, not a huge sample size probably, but
he went on record to say, man, they passed me up for Killian or whatever he said. They passed me up, so I make sure I show them what I can do when whenever he likes that matchup when he plays the Pistons.
Mathurin does. He does.
Mr. My City says thought Mathurin would have a bigger grudge against us. I mean, him and who was he going against? Him and Ivy. They go at it. They're talking crazy to each other on the court. I kind of like that. I kind of like that because Ivy had a very good game versus them the last time they played, and they was talking crazy.
That was the first time that he had kind of matched energy, honestly.
Yeah, the only thing with Ivy though, my only complaint with Ivy is his inconsistency. It's like when he's off, he disappears totally. Like I like a player that if you can't score, you find other ways to contribute, and he just doesn't. He doesn't do anything when he's not scoring. It's just nothing else. He doesn't add much defense, no passing, he's just liability out there when he's not scoring, when he's having an off night. The better players will find other things to do to help their team if their shots off. That's just what it is.
Right.
And so.
Yeah, I don't think it's for lack of an effort. I just think
no, I don't think it's lack of effort. I just think he just, the leader, like K to have a shooting. He'll have an off night shooting, but those rebounds and assists are there. So, he's going to find other ways, and he's going to hit some. He might have an off night shooting, but he's going to hit some key shots. He's going to hit a couple clutch ones. I was going to ask everyone while they were here to give their team like a little grade, and I wanted to compare when they thought about their grading compared to where they were last year at this time. And the reason why I said that is because if it was up to me and Foster grading, they would get a high mark, and to have a high mark at 10 and 15, you had to say why, right? But if you haven't, like I said, you didn't pay attention in comparison to last year, they definitely get a high mark. And it has nothing to do with wins or losses. It has everything to do with the way they're approaching the game. It's a different energy than it was last year. It was like, how many games are we going to lose in a row around this time of the year? This time last year. Whereas now is, how many games can we win in a row? You know what I'm saying? Even though, like I said, we 10-15, we won 14 games last year. We won 10. I can't tell you. I think we got to 4 games. We won 4 games. It took us to January to win 4 games last year. So to be at 10 wins right now in December, it may not speak volumes as a franchise, but in comparison to last year, I got I have high regards in comparison, and it's crazy because it was me and Foster's first year talking about the Pistons, and we had to endure that season. So Foster, what do you think about this season?
So yeah, I definitely don't want to use last year as a measuring stick because that's kind of like, you're setting the bar so low that it's not even worth speaking about really. But
Yeah.
overall, I would give the team, if we're talking just overall full body of work, I would say somewhere in the C area. C, maybe a solid C. I mean, we have a lot of new, a lot of new members of the team. You got, 2 rookies that are getting no. How many rookies are getting minutes right now? Just one, right? Just
Holland.
Ron Holland's getting minutes right now. You got Beasley, you got Hardaway. Yeah, so you got a decent enough amount of new pieces that you're trying to work into things, but overall, I gotta say I'm pretty pleased. I mean, just the energy of the team is just in a different place. You saw a lot of dejected faces on the bench day in and day in and day out for weeks upon weeks, months upon months, and although we have had some tough games where we struggled, there's definitely been some high points. The team is just in a better place. There's more, social media does a lot for you to get a vibe of the just the temperature around the locker room, and you can see Cade going live on the private jet and just seeing how the team has, because it looks crazy when you're in the midst of a long losing streak and you're posting happy pictures on social media. You kind of got to tone all that down when you're struggling like that. So just the fact that we're building a culture and identity, and somewhat giving the fans something to talk about. I'm pretty pleased, but I don't want to give them too high of marks because I'm kind of past the point of being like complacent with not being a, not being a, zero, 20 loss in a row type team. I'm to the point now to where, well, first we're in a position where we want to be. We're in the discussion for a play-in type situation. We're evaluating the team, and we can really look at, okay, what pieces do we want to keep? What pieces are, can we move to improve, going forward? Because I think we're to the point to where it's like, we shouldn't hang our hats on, oh, let's see who's in the who we can pick out of the lottery. I think we're all beyond that point.
No. Hey, what's up with the Bulls, man? What are you thinking as far as a early season grade?
So you said let's grade this team, and you want to base it off of 2 things. Just basically what you see this season, and kind of like what you saw from them last year. Yeah. So at this very point last year, December 8th, the Bulls had won their 9th game of the season. So they're 1 game of better than that pace of last year. They're 1 game better this year than they were last year at the same point in time. So that is a step in the right direction if we were to, call the glass half full. However, I'm one of the only people on my channel that thinks the Bulls are decent, right? Everybody else, Rick, Zeke, Q, they think the Bulls suck. They think they're mid at best.
Yeah.
I think the Bulls should be better than 10 and 15. So I think the grade I would have him, I would give them a grade that you can't come into my dad's house with. You can't come into my dad's house with a less than a C. In fact,
Right.
you come in with a C, you getting that second snatched out of your room. I'm giving the Bulls a D. You gotta hide that report card. You gotta forge it, do something. You gotta take the phone off the hook so the teachers can't call the crib, something like that.
This is hitting different right now.
It's definitely so. The Bulls, they haven't had any major injuries this season, and yet they are 10-15. Pat Williams is hurt. Pat Williams doesn't contribute to anything that this team does or that this team needs. He is a guy. He is a JAG, just a guy. He's just there getting a check. Kobe White has been a little hurt. He's missed a couple of games, but that would be an issue. But Ayo Dosunmu, he's been playing great when he started. I think Ayo Dosunmu started 12 games this season, and he's been fantastic the entire time.
I was a fan of him when he was at Illinois.
He was a very good player. He was Mr. Illinois for a couple of years, and he's got his jersey already in the rafters up there in Champaign.
He's very good player.
He was a dog. He's a dog. Yeah. There's a discussion in amongst the Bulls fans of like, hey, Ayo should be a starter. When everybody is healthy, Ayo should still be a starter. I don't care where you got to play him. Play him at the 4. It doesn't matter. He gets it done.
4.
It wouldn't be the first time the Bulls have played under somebody smaller than 6'5" at the 4, and they went to the playoffs the last time they did it.
Who was that?
I'm blanking on his name right now, but it was a few years ago when the Bulls had when they went to the playoffs the first year with DeMar DeRozan. Their everyday 4 was a guy who was 6'4". I'm gonna look up his name, but more into the reason why I gave the Bulls a D grade. So the Bulls have the worst defense in the Eastern Conference outside of the Washington Wizards. We expect the Washington Wizards to be bad. They got 3 wins, right? They're led by Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, probably the worst dynamic duo on a basketball court in NBA history. You expect them to have terrible defense. The Bulls are giving up 123 points a game, just like the Wizards are. The only reason why their point differential isn't as bad as the Wizards is because the Bulls lead the league in pace. They get up a lot of shots, they shoot a lot of threes, and they've been fortunate enough to hit a lot of these threes, and that's led them to 10 wins. So that's the only reason why I'm not giving them a failure, because having Zach LaVine having a damn near career season in his 10th year in the league, Vucci man in his 13th year in the league having his best season of his career. You got these 2 guys who are often hurt, but they're on the floor balling. You've got Ayo Dosunmu killing, having a career season up to this point. When Kobe's been there, he's been cold. There's no reason why they should be 5 games under 500, but the only reason that they can't defend anybody. They can't defend a lick. If there was a slow drip in the UC and it was hitting the floor every time, the Bulls couldn't figure out how to mop it up. They just can't stop anything right now. And that's why. That's the only reason why. They had to shoot themselves into every game. And that's not a recipe for success. At some point, it's going to come back to them to bite them. In fact, I know it's going to come back to bite them because the Philadelphia 76ers, who they just lost to on, I think it was Sunday, they're going to eventually flip spots with them. The Bulls are 10th in the standings. So they're a short hair away from being outside of postseason talk. The 76ers are only 3 games off their pace. At some point, they're going to get that spot, and the Bulls are going to be sitting with those same Wizards that I spoke about.
So what are you going to do with Zach LaVine?
Well, the only thing they can do is they can't bring him back. They can't figure out a blockbuster trade to ship him off. So you're gonna have to just take pennies on the dollar. And the latest news that's come out of the Bulls on that is that the trade market still, and I just said something like a career season is still very cold for him. I don't know what it is. I don't know why no one in the league wants him for anything. I can't. It can't be an off the court issue. It can't be a locker room issue because Zach's a great locker room guy. He's not a rebel rouser or anything like that. And he's got the strongest representation in the league. He's backed by Clutch Sports. No one's bigger gangster than my man running Clutch. So I don't know what the issue is. Maybe it's the front office. They don't know how to sell. They don't know how to sell their assets. I would think that's the problem.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll talk some more Central Division. If you're watching, we'll be back in like 6 seconds. If you're listening, you're going to hear, some beautiful ads. We're back to the Central Division Showdown, episode 7. I really wanted to hear from Tate this week. I think
he say he wasn't going to show. Oh, you know what? Here's the name, Javonte Green. He started at power forward for 45 games, and the
he was like 6'6", maybe.
It's still short.
He's definitely not.
He's not.
He's 6'4". If he's listed at 6'4", he's listed at 6'4". So know he's not 6'4".
I get all those greens.
And if you ask,
there's a lot of greens in the league.
Yeah,
so it's a lot of greens in the league, right? One of them, Draymond.
And he played taller than what he was, though.
He did. If you ask me, back then he was the Bulls' most important player. All he did was defend. He defended 4 positions. He was the toughest guy. Yeah. And he can finish a crib.
Yeah.
That's all you need from a 3-and-D guy. Play defense and finish a crib.
Yeah, I think Cleveland went without. I think they lost 1 out of the last 3, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember who they lost to, but they
did get swept by Atlanta. We talked about that.
We talked about that, but they had 3 games after that.
Mm-hmm. They beat Boston. We talked about that. They destroyed the Wizards, beat the Nuggets, beat the Hornets, and lost to the Heat.
Yeah, and that was recent. The most recent loss, I believe.
Sunday.
Yeah, they lost to the Heat. Heat is a hard team to figure out because the Heat will look like they don't belong, and then they'll play somebody and they'll just look awesome.
Well coached.
They're well coached. They are well coached. They stay within themselves. They know what works for them, and they just go after it. And this is without the bucket man. They're playing. What's his name?
Butler's hurt.
Butler. Yeah, he's been hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Miami's so kind of. I don't know. I don't really follow Miami that tough, and Butler's getting old. He's at the point where he either needs some help or because I see Hero and trade in those when you look at those blockbuster trades, he's always the focal point because he's
why though he be going off though
because he's a 20 point a game guy, but like
he ain't he ain't the defender that Miami wants.
Exactly because that's their style, and he's not a number 1 option type guy.
But he's getting paid like a 1 or 2.
Well, who would be the number 1 option on the Heat if Jimmy Butler's not playing?
It's got to be.
It's him. Yeah, it's him.
Okay.
Because it definitely ain't Bam.
It's not. Bam is a scrap guy.
But I think he's being celebrated. At one point, was like a potential all-star because I don't think he's ever been to an all-star.
Bam is an all-star player. He's an all-star caliber player. But he ain't that next level. He ain't stupid.
They don't run plays for Bam.
He's not Embiid.
Yeah. No, he's not Embiid for sure.
I think a few years ago he had peaked. I had him in like the top 20 guys. Like he was right there ready. And I think that playoff run, he showed everybody like, man, if the guy that he has to defend is like a traditional big, he ain't got it. He ain't got it on offense. It definitely can't defend him. So like He don't even try to like, still go get his shot. He'll pass it off every time. Like, you can't have that in the top 20. You definitely can't have that as your top 1 or 2 offensive focal points.
Yeah, you gotta go get it as a top guy.
Yeah.
The Bucks, they've been hot. They did run into a Boston team, and that was a very, very close game, which they were winning most of the game. They just lost it in the fourth quarter. But the Bucks, and I think they found their way. They're basically they're one of the hottest teams in the league right now. I think they just had that one blemish out of the last 8 or 9 games. But
8-2 in the last 10.
Yeah. So they've been playing a lot better as of late. And Middleton's back.
Yeah, he came back I think this last game yesterday, right?
Boston.
I think
Boston,
it was he played against Boston?
He played against Boston.
Okay. I thought he had only just come back recently against Brooklyn. But yeah, Middleton's back. I don't expect a lot out of Middleton.
I don't expect much from him.
I think he's washed. He played 11. Well, no, he got 11 points in that return. He had played 23 minutes. Ooh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the Bucks, as far as their on paper, the construction of the team. You got 2 star players, and then you got a lot of guys around them that shoot the ball. So the game we just played against the Pistons just played against the Bucks, which was a inner cup or whatever the tournament cup game. They could not miss. I mean, what's the guy's name? Jeff Green. Not Jeff Green, but it's the white dude shooter. Last name Green.
He was
shooting the lot. Yeah. Who else? Prince. I mean, they're a top 5 team as far as 3-point made and 3-point percentage. So I mean,
and the big Lopez hits them from outside at a great clip.
Oh yeah, Lopez.
Sure.
The last couple of years, he's really emerged as a
talk about a rebrand. Because Brook Lopez in his prime, at his peak, was not this Brook Lopez, and he wasn't the defender he is. He's one of the best shot, if he's not the best shot blocker in the league.
Yes.
He wasn't a defender like this when he was back in Brooklyn, back in the 10 years ago. He wasn't this type of shooter. He never came out the paint. That's why he had no issues with him. But now you got to check him. You got to go get him.
AJ Green. That's it. Yeah, I knew it was a Green that had a common name. The football player obviously name is AJ
Thanks,
Green.
Mr. My City.
But yeah, I mean, his brother Robin never developed that in this game, and that's why he's, I think, out of the league. But but yeah, they are they're a pretty well comprised team now that they've got things going. So they're gonna be dangerous, because I mean they had that early stretch, but there's a lot of basketball to be played, and they're catching the rhythm already.
Yeah, I had a Buck fan tell me what they need to do. In his suggestion was to get a point guard and move Dame to shooting guard. And I was like, I said, it's just a matter of who, as far as if you're gonna do that.
Who is the shooting guard now, quote unquote? Oh, it's Trent. I think sometimes it's Gary Trent, and sometimes it's
Gary Trent until Chris is ready.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Which is who probably played.
Will be the shooting guard,
because Middleton's not back yet. Oh, I thought Middleton played the 3 though.
I mean, he could, but I mean, you know how the league is now. You could play multiple positions, but
yeah,
he's got the size to play the 3, but he's typically in the backcourt.
Yeah. It just depends on, with the Bucks, it just depends on who's available. Chris has been moved around, and sometimes he winds up bringing the ball up a lot of when he was healthy, he would bring.
I was going to say probably not so much now, but
yeah. So
I think it's time. I think it's time for Dame to come off the ball.
Yeah.
I think he's a great shooter, but I think he's still going to want the ball in his hands a lot, though.
But didn't they try to do that in Portland and he was not pleased?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
They wanted to do that in Portland, I believe, and he was just not having it. He wasn't feeling Chauncey.
Thing is now he not in Portland no more. It ain't his city. This is Greeks. This is Greek city, and Greeks has already put everybody on notice. Like, hey, we don't win. I'm looking for a trade, and we all can see the writing on the wall with not only Greek, with what Greek said, but with Dame as far as his playing ability. Right? He ain't.
Yeah.
His best days are behind him. I mean, that's no slight to him. Right now, he's mid 30s, right? So, and he's got another 3-4 years left on that. A huge deal. If they don't win this year, they need to start trying to get out of that deal immediately.
And that's the tricky thing, is because they have what? I mean, I don't know how much Middleton's getting paid, which is probably a lot, but probably, not as much, in this day and age. But when you have big contracts like that, you don't have the wiggle room to bring in more players. You gotta get creative as far as adding those compliments when you start adding a couple of those big contracts. So,
well, you'll see teams like if you want to shop Dame, you'll see teams like the Lakers that want to jump out there and I'm telling you, they'll definitely fish for it.
Yeah, they will.
They said that about Levine too, but I haven't seen that.
They love a star that doesn't fit.
That's for sure.
Trying to put those circles and those square pegs.
How I know you got the standings in front of you. How have the Pacers looked these last 3 games?
So the Pacers have, I think they went 2-1 the last 3 games, and I'll read them off to you right now. So they lost last night to the Hornets. They beat the Bulls, and they actually went 1-2 the last 3 games. So they lost to the Nets, beat the Bulls on Friday, and lost to the Hornets last night. Close game against the Hornets.
Now the Hornets, they're missing their point guard, right?
LaMelo's back.
LaMelo's back.
Okay.
He's back.
Yeah.
What was the stat line for him?
LaMelo Ball gave the Pacers. Let's see.
And I want to know Miller's as well.
So LaMelo Ball, in fact, Miller, he's been on a streak of 27 straight, 10 straight games with 27 and some points, right?
Yeah.
So in this game, he only had 26. So it was an off night for him. 50% from the floor, though. 4 trays for Brandon Miller.
He's arrived.
Yeah, he's a dog.
We saw that monster. He had like 8 threes versus us the last time.
Oh my God, that was awful.
He at every shot hit the bottom of the net. It was no rattling of the rim, contested, whatever. It just, oh man, splash. What did LaMelo have?
LaMelo is not back. I thought I heard he was back, so no, he's not back yet.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they're winning some games without him. That's crazy.
Yeah, again, they're only 3 games behind the pace of both of these teams, the Pistons and the Bulls.
Because we get the same record, right?
But Miller, I co-sign that.
Yeah.
10 and 15, both teams.
Yeah.
Okay. And
but I co-sign that pick.
And this guy, Mr. My City says, Indianapolis guy, TJ McDonald, the Piston Killer. Now, I'm going to tell you this. This hustling little guard, he's a pesky guard, and he hits every single mid-range when he gets hot, and he's just always around the rim. I mean, he just spells, and I don't know if it happens versus a lot of other teams, but when it comes to the Pistons, he gets his buckets. He makes his minutes count versus us.
Who's the guy on the Celtics? Similar
Pritchard
game.
Pritchard and Hauser didn't.
Pritchard.
Oh my God, yeah, Hauser.
They went crazy. The Boston went crazy versus us without Tatum. Like Pritchard and Hauser did not miss. So it was like, good old Central Division. I'm glad Boston's not in our division.
Yeah, that'd be bad for everybody, right?
Yeah, That would be bad for everybody. So our division leader would be Cleveland. Is Cleveland, and they are standing what 20-5,
The Cleveland Cavaliers are 21-4.
21-4.
Jesus.
That's still incredible.
What's crazy is how well the Magic are playing. I mean, granted, Wagner just got hurt. Their two top players both have injured obliques. Obliques.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
the Magic. But yeah, you're right. They're 17-9. Mm-hmm.
They've been playing
despite all that.
Ball. They've been playing phenomenal ball, even though they're how long has Wagner been hurt?
He just got hurt.
Okay.
Yeah. That just
and I was gonna say he's arrived. I mean, he's the real deal.
Yeah, you saw that in the playoffs last year. In particular, I think it's the games 2, 3, and 4 when he went right at Cleveland. They didn't want no smoke with him. Not at all.
Yeah. Do you see any signs of Cleveland slowing down?
They got to. I don't think so. This is my take, and I know history won't agree, as we said ad nauseum in previous episodes. Every team that started 15-0 ended their season in the NBA Finals. Most and the other two of the three other teams, they end up winning a championship, right? So history has the Cleveland Cavaliers going to the finals. Do I think this is a finals team? Absolutely not. I don't think they're better than the Celtics. You put them in a 7-game series, I think they get smoked. I think they lose in 5, to be honest. In fact, if you remember, like I just said, that series last year against the upstart Magic, Cleveland had all the experience, and Magic still took them to 7 games. And Magic had a shot to win that series in the 7th game. There's some concerns I have about Cleveland. I mean, yes, they are a good team. They as a roster, they're built correctly. They have the defenders, they have the shooters, and they have that one alpha guy that can go get his shot whenever he needed to.
Yes.
But for me, a finals team, you got to have a superstar, a legit superstar, somebody that's bona fide top 10 guy for me to even believe it. Like for me to even entertain that you are a championship contender. I don't have that much. I don't put Mitchell in that conversation just yet.
Okay.
Now things could change as the season goes on, and he starts, doing some more dog work. But we shall see. I mean, present new information, you can always have a new opinion, right? But up to this point, everything I've seen out of Mitchell, great regular season guy, not an MVP though, right? You wouldn't put him in those conversations, right? He'll get you to the playoffs. He took Utah to the playoffs a lot. Won 1 playoff series. He got to Cleveland. He's won 2 playoff series just with Cleveland. In fact, no, he's won 1 playoff series with Cleveland, right? So before I advance them into the finals discussion with like the top dogs, the guys that I know are cold, the guys that I know I've seen them do it before, I need more information.
So you would say right now you favor Boston over them for the Eastern Conference representative?
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. I think Tatum's a top 10 player, wherever that lies into there, right? Maybe even top 5. But Tatum ain't even the alpha on that squad because Jaylen Brown, he's the guy that you really need when it's time to get stuff done.
Yeah. Unknowingly, welcome to the show. He says even Mobley dropping 40 plus his last game, and Garland can play good in playoffs. They go far.
Oh yeah, Garland's probably my favorite player on that squad, but Mobley, what's the knock on Mobley? He gets hurt, so he gets it's a little fragile, right? I kind of agree.
The knock on him was more just inconsistency.
Probably. That's probably.
When he says 40,
he's been relatively healthy, but I just thought he just didn't. The offense doesn't.
It doesn't move through him.
Yeah, it doesn't move through him, and it's he he has to get his out the mud, so to
Right.
speak. So I don't
I
expect
agree.
him to have like 20 a game. He has to scrape for everything he gets. Just
Right. I think his inconsistency could be tied down to the roster construction,
the
right?
system, yeah.
Right. He's not, even with all the talent in the world, he can
He can do
go
it.
he can average 18 and 11 if he wanted to with a block and a half. But he's playing next to Jared Allen, and he's on the team with Spider, and he's on the team with
Yeah.
Garland. He's got to get his, like you said, you got to get it out the mud. He got to get his where he got to get in where he fit in. So I agree with Tate. Tate said last week that they may have to get off Jared Allen just to go get that next piece that they need to go to that next level.
He was talking about Ingram. He was talking about,
yeah, go trade for Ingram. See how far that gets you. Another guy that's fragile and inconsistent.
That's a fragile person that's off and on in on the injured list and stuff like that. So that's another. Yeah, so if Ty Jerome and Karras can step up, they can go 7. But I don't see Cleveland beating Boston. I forgot about those role players.
Don't depend on Ty. I'm thinking he's having a pretty decent year, but Jerome and what's the other guy? The Michigan guy. What's his name?
Oh, hold on. I gotta address this. Unknowingly, there will be no thing.
What's his name?
I gotta read this.
That fast. Oh, Levert.
Free Cade, Pistons wasting his career. Therefore, I'm gonna stop reading there. I'm sorry. No, there will be none.
He's got the burner account appearance, so it's like there's no talent.
I'm just kidding. I'm gonna read it. Free Cade, Pistons waiting his career. They're frauds. Will never win without another superstar. Don't matter if they're young. There are so many good teams that have so many superstars. The only thing I can say that even though it was 20 years ago, we won the championship without any stars. So
usually frauds are teams that
Rasheed Wallace.
He got there half the year.
Yeah, usually frauds are categorized as teams that have the media has decided has arrived. We haven't really. I don't think frauds is the word to use, but you can.
The 10 and 15, you're not frauds. The 10 and 15, you can't call them frauds.
No.
Flag
Cade.
We are who we are. What the record says.
If you say Free Cade, I can't argue with you there. But to say we're frauds is kind of wild.
Yeah. Flag on a play. You got to use a better descriptor.
Gavin Anthony says the one I'm concerned with the Cavs is versus Boston is that when we played them, they didn't have Porzingis the first time, and the second they didn't have Jaylen Brown. We didn't have Max Strus, but still,
Strus.
My city agrees with me with the team ball type thing.
And to be fair, Boston has an off-injured, fragile guy too, the unicorn. But they've already showed you they don't need him to get buckets. They don't need him in the regular season. They don't need him in the playoffs. They was getting past teams whole series without him, right? Even some people would say, they had an easy road to the finals. And I get that. I agree. They could have lost to Indiana if it wasn't for Jaylen Brown and his heroics. But the point being, you've seen them do it. You've seen them scrap. You've seen what they can do with adversity and against it, right?
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell's won 2 playoff series his entire career. He's good for crazy scoring explosions and losses. So I want to see him do it a little bit. Garrett Garland, I love his game. He's got to put on for an entire series. He's got to put on for an entire series against a dog like Drew Holiday, who has done it again and again and again. Right, Derek White. What can you do against that type of bulldog defense in the backcourt? They gotta prove it.
Yeah. Unknowingly says Lakers need to trade D'Lo and Reeves for another person to help Brown and AD. They need a center so AD can play power forward. We know what he can do when he plays power forward. I agree.
They've been saying that for so many years. It just never happened.
Yeah, the thing is, the Bulls have a center that they're trying to get off too, and he would fit perfectly in LA. The thing with LA, man, and I'm a big LeBron fan, but the problem with the Lakers is LeBron and the Lakers, their need for stars, right? They don't bringing in Russell Westbrook. Case in point, the better play was to go get Buddy Hield and a couple of other guys who were cheaper and would space the floor, give you exactly what you needed. No, they had to get a star. They had to get a star so they can always sell tickets when LeBron wants to take his week off, take his PTO during January and February, and when AD, when he falls, hits the floor too hard, they need another star out there.
Right.
And you saw how that goes. You can't Russell ain't that. He ain't that guy no more. He's got a name, but he ain't that guy. And they're going to continue to be a mid team until they say, hey, you know what? Let's build an actual roster. And
but not to cut your wisdom, but I do also recall times where they went and got like a Rui Hachimura, a Taurean Prince, a Malik Beasley, Vanderbilt, who's always hurt. But I feel like they have tried that sometimes too. But for whatever reason, I guess none of those dudes were centers. But but for whatever reason, it just never seems to it hasn't panned out for them since the bubble years. So I don't know. But they say that Vooch is available for 2 second-round picks. I don't know the validity. It doesn't sound, because that sounds
there's no market for them. These guys would have been gone off the Bulls.
I'll take Vooch for 2 seconds. Let's make that happen.
And he's currently on pace. And again, shout out to my boys, Sports Life, and help out Zeke and Rick doing great work over there on their pod. They were saying, yo, this is the Vooch we see all the time. No, it ain't. Vooch has not been a 20 and 10 plus guy since he got to the Bulls. He's been very low. He's missed more crips than you can count. He's close to having a 50-40-90 season right now. Look up the numbers. He is crazy. Automatic. Like
that's magic. That's magic.
Like it's crazy right now. And there's no market for him. No one, maybe because of his age, maybe because and I don't think he's getting paid too much anymore. I think he's in the last year or two of his contract. So, I mean, if you're really serious about competing, if you're really serious about winning, you might as well go all in right now and just eat the charge later. I mean, teams do it all the time. Shout out to the New York Mets.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The Warriors is a team that I feel like I've seen, because they never really have centers. I feel like
no.
Who's the guy they have? He's undersized. I can't think. I want to call him Space.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but
not Space, but it's somebody.
Space that was a minute ago.
Yeah. But he's in that same mode though. He's like
he's the scrap guy. While we're talking about the West, who comes out of the West?
I think the West is wide open this year. The team I wanted to come out of the West last year, Oklahoma, I think this will be their shot. I don't think the team that beat them last year with Minnesota Timberwolves, I think they're in a little disarray because they got Julius Randle. He's a little bit of a Trojan horse, if you know what I mean. So they're gonna have to figure that part out. The Denver Nuggets, they have their own Trojan horse. Shout out to Russell Westbrook. So their paths
are good. It's weird.
The Rockets are good, but they're a little early, So you know how the NBA is. You got to hit your head a couple of times before you can actually proceed. So it's not yet for them, even though they've got one of the best coaches in the league. So I do feel like the Houston can be dangerous this season, but they also got a Trojan horse as well. On their sidelines. Shout out to Drea.
Wow.
Oh, so, the young guy.
Wow. Wow.
So I mean, this is the easiest path Oklahoma's going to have. I don't think Chet's back yet. I don't even know if Chet's going to play again this year.
Chet hasn't been back, but they still been playing pretty good.
Well, they went and got the guy from New York. What's his name? Hartenstein. I mean,
Hartenstein.
essentially, he was a starter last year, so that kind of worked out for them.
Yeah. What do you think about the Timberwolves?
Oh, Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is a top 5 player. He's there.
Yeah.
He's there. He's a guy. Maybe top 5 is a little bit too much sauce. Maybe that's
that was a little bit, but I was going to double down. But
maybe that's a little too far. Maybe that's too much dip on the chip. But he's a good player. He's a very good player. I don't think anybody's taking him out of the top 10, and that's probably because A, how he plays and how he looks, and B, he performs, right? Because I mean, it's not too wild to say he's a top 10 player. But going back to that Trojan horse, Julius Randle, he is going to stop any type of advance that you think you're going to get. He is a black hole, and on offense, he's not really a great defensive player, in his own mind. But he's like I said, Vooch is he's flirting with a 50-40-90 season. Randall flirts with 30-30-30 seasons. So I mean,
wow.
That's
bold. I think he was an all-star last year.
When he was the leader of the Knicks, he was an all NBA player.
But I'm talking about even with Brunson, up until the only reason why the Knicks didn't go to the finals, Knicks would have went to the finals
if they were healthy.
Yeah, but Randall missed the last 20 games of the year with that shoulder injury.
I think he missed more than that. I think he missed close to 40 games.
Yeah. And they still made it to the finals. And he was having an all-star year. I think he got hurt either right before the all-star game or right after. It was one of the two. I think you saw how they took off as soon as he got out the roster. The OG Anunoby trade was a big part of it, though.
Yeah, you are very much correct. Well, as soon as they got OG to help Jalen carry some of that burden, they took off.
But OG was hurt too. OG missed a lot of games.
When they got to the playoff, you know how Tom Thibodeau teams are.
Hey, he runs them into the dirt with all those minutes.
Playing
7 people most of the year, and
but to just touch on the Timberwolves, I mean, I think those are. I don't think Randall's the guy you want to trade for right before the season starts, because I feel like you need time to gel with that personality, because he's a great player in my eyes, but I think he's acquired taste as far as just his. I don't know. I don't like his body language. You can always tell because the Knicks turned on him over the thumbs down thing that because I can't remember what the crowd was giving him a hard time about, but he completely turned off the Knicks fan base after he made that negative gesture to the crowd. Just one thing, and they were like, "All right, get him out of here."
Yeah.
It was probably that shooting percentage. To circle back to that contract talk, Chris Middleton, he has 2 years left. Well, he has one more year after this year left on his deal with the Bucks. He's getting paid 31 this year, 34 next year.
Wow.
Yeah. Bucci Mane with the Bulls, Nikola Vucevic, he has 2 more years left as well on his contract. He's getting paid 20 this year and 21 next year. He is a bargain. Bargain. You are never going to get that type of bargain. If you're trying to win, go get this guy. They only want day 2 players.
I don't know how that's possible. I mean, I guess they're trying to dump and LaVine. It's probably the LaVine effect. It wouldn't be such a big deal if LaVine wasn't making 50, but Lakers need Trae Young. I mean, that'd be fun, I guess. Oh, I'll read it, I guess. So unknowingly says Lakers need Trae Young, and they theory in the West, and I got them coming out. Who's stopping that? The pick and roll, the lobs to AD and Bron can rest into the playoffs as you want. AD and Young will go crazy.
How tall are all the point guards in the West?
Well, we know Trae Young's about 5'11", but you get SGA. He's 6'6".
6'6".
Van Vliet short. Timberwolves got Conley. Hey, some of these point guards aren't that tall.
Right.
Jamal Murray's he's 6'4".
My point is, you come into a playoff series, you gotta get some dirt on your chest, right? You gotta get some you gotta squabble up, as they say out there in LA. And
Right.
Trey Van Vliet, even though he's
solid.
Yeah, he is. He's solid and he's tested. He gonna come right through your chest.
And a ring.
I would love to see LA's offense with Trae Young, but that goes back to the problem: too many stars. It's too much box office. Let's just tone it down a little bit. Jack Nicholson don't even come to the games no more. You ain't got it. Who you impressing? Just relax. Go get you some role players, some 3-and-Ds. They cheap. Go get them.
Kyle Anderson. He's not a point guard though, is he?
He only played for the Warriors.
Yes, he plays for Warriors now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Steph is the point guard there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he probably push it off the bench. He probably push it.
Yeah.
He's a reliable playmaker, though.
Yeah, for sure. So we've reached the hour point. It's about time to wrap this up. I know Pay's like a busy person. He probably has a bunch of editing to do. Probably has a couple more shows tonight, So anyway, while you're here, why don't you tell everyone that may not know where they can find your shows, what all you do? I'm telling you, this guy's he's very talented. He has some wonderful shows. I catch the shows when I can, but hey, let the people know where they can find you.
I'm the EP executive producer at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel /podcast. I say /podcast because we're available on audio anywhere you get your podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, all the such. Under that same name and also /channel, we're also available on YouTube. Whole shows post there as well, audio and visual. We just recorded the Bears versus 49ers review. That'll be up tomorrow. We have our Bulls recaps and thoughts coming out sporadically throughout the week. Some other stuff about Chicago baseball, whether or not this Chicago Sky is going to trade for Jewel Lloyd. That's another episode coming out this week as well. So great. It's a great time over there. We don't just talk Chicago only stuff. In fact, I posted a video this week of who's got the best pizza between New York and Chicago. I did not include Detroit into the conversation because I didn't think it was a good conversation to have. But maybe I'm wrong. But I had a taste test.
Those are two good places that I don't mind being left out of the conversation about. So.
Me and June will shoot our own, and you know what?
Yeah, it is what it is.
I can't wait to see it. But yeah, that's another great video. It's a good fun time. I took some time. I did a B Foster. I took a day trip up to New York.
Oh wow!
Went around Lower Manhattan trying out pizza. Shading them on the way out the door. But it was fun. Check us out.
I tried to hang out with Foster this weekend, and then out the blue, I got Red Wings tickets. I'm like, what?
I saw that.
You didn't even say anything about that. Like,
because it was like the day before.
This is the kind of love he gets. Like
I went with Coach. Coach. I went with Coach. He knows people. I don't do. I don't have to plug on Red Wings tickets like that. But
I think Mr. Unknowingly is kind of going off here. He said nobody will stop Young. You know what he did in 2021. I think that was 2021. He carried his team to the conference finals by himself with no help. Telling me him and Brian with AD won't be scary. And he says respond to that.
Well, okay. So I remember. Well, I think he's referring to the year that he put out the Knicks. He's a well-documented Knicks killer. But yeah, I think it would be fun and exciting to watch. But as far as the fit and all, and how he gels in with everybody else, I don't know. Eventually, you got to play some defense, and Trae Young is a cone.
Here's my thing about that. I enjoy that run from Trae Young and the Hawks a lot, and I'm soft on the 76ers. I'm a big fan of Joel Embiid and some of the other players that they have on that roster, and I didn't have any issue with them. In fact, I used to be a big Ben Simmons apologist, and I had no issues with the Hawks coming right through there and taking their heart out their chest. But when did that happen? That happened the year after the bubble, right? I think you can question everything that happened that season because none of it's been repeated. The Bucks winning the championship, some of the teams that made the playoffs that year went on playoff runs, a la the Hawks. None of that's been repeated since. I think a lot of teams caught the teams from the bubble lacking because they had such a short break coming from the bubble, going right into a new season. And if you saw the Lakers, the Clippers, who else? The Miami Heat, not the Boston Celtics, but those teams that stayed in the bubble longest, they struggled the next season. And then other teams were able to capitalize on that, Bucks, Hawks, and so on and so forth. And so I'm in the camp of saying that was an outlier, right? Those receipts, the things you did that season, it wasn't, you ain't repeated it, right? So until you do it again, I'm just saying I'm really just calling it a fluke.
I'm a big Trae Young fan, so I think wherever he goes, he'll bring something to the table. I don't want to see him go to the Lakers because I think they'll be very, very good there. I think they'll be the team they need to beat. They expect to be out there in the West. I think the West is right now. The West is up for grabs.
Oh yeah, I don't know if they'll be good, but I know what they will be. They'll be Showtime.
Yeah. Foster, where can they find you?
They can find me on Bleachers to Speakers. The Tigers just had a signing, so that should be the winter meetings is over with or going on right now. So it's starting to heat up as far as Major League Baseball is concerned, the free agents. So me and Coach will have a show this week as far as the baseball side of things. But of course, we got we are not quite wrapping up the NFL season, but of course the Lions are going strong right now. Obviously, you're watching the Pistons show. So yeah, check us out.
And we're going to add another show during the week where we talk about the NFL as a whole, not just going to cover our Lions. We're going to talk about the competition. Just a little quick, look around the league standings, what happened during the week, this, that, and other, anything big news. So we're going to add another show. And then, like I said, Foster said we have Pistons. We're going to talk more Pistons and be on the lookout for more featured player profile. Foster does a great job with those, especially when there's someone new arrives on the scene. Foster is the first to talk about them and say what they bring to the Pistons or Lions team. So thank you guys for tuning in. Mr. My City and Unknowingly have entertained me today as much as I've entertained you guys. You guys are great. I appreciate you. They are
going at it. What's going on?
I love these guys are interacting.
He said it's not in me, it's on me. What are these?
I don't know. I just let them go at it, man. But I appreciate them for being here. Mr. My City is my guy. He supports us every week. I've never seen Unknowingly, but I appreciate his presence. And I want to say everybody to subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. We finally made 200 subs. We're trying to get to 3. So please subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. Check us out on the podcast aggregators. That's Post Game Podcast, FFSN, and that's Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube. Hey, I appreciate you for showing up. I appreciate you being here. And we will see you tomorrow when we do the NFC North Division show. You can find us, and we're hosting, so you'll find us right here tomorrow, 5:00 Eastern, and we'll be back at it talking Detroit Lions, Chicago Bears, sadly, the Green Bay Packers, and Minnesota Vikings. So have a great night.